Hello everyone, I'm going to explain to you my 10.0 update for the Iron Vanguard Guardian Fighter build. This is mine. This is a personal one. I did watch other YouTubers. I watched them, like give an explanation on what they use, what they don't use, a little bit on their powers and feats. So I think what I'm going to do is go over my powers more or less and feats because I'm still working on what armor I need. It's not all correct, but it'll be I'll make a video on it so you guys can see what you do or don't like. So I'm gonna get into the powers. Alright, so the first good one is shield talent. Really good for tanking. If you want to stay, of course, staying alive, face tanking is great. Like, this is great to use. Your guarding doesn't consume as much stamina as it normally would. If it was off or whatever, of course you would be losing stamina, really fast. But now it doesn't. Like, when you have shield talent on, I keep it on because it ranks up first off, and second of all, when I'm face tanking, it helps me block whatever is coming at me, the damage that's coming at me. Another good one is enforced threat. Enforced threat forcefully taunts your foes, applying a mark causing them to attack you. Also good to do in dungeons, good to do during mobs. Good for mobs, like especially weaker mobs, because it'll do damage. This is something they did fix. They did say it does more damage. So now I think it went from, like, it was really low before, but now it's 10,000 for me. But it's really good to use. Really good. When attracting attention from mobs or bosses, really good to use. Griffin's Wrath, really great to use during PvP and during any kind of dungeon. I wouldn't recommend it for, like, a boss, especially like if you're doing Lost Mouth or Valindra. I wouldn't recommend it for those, but I would recommend Enforced Threat mostly. If you're going to do it, if you're going to go into a dungeon with this, I would suggest you do it before you get to a boss. Like, if you're, like, before you do it to the Dragon Soul, I believe, which is like the first boss of Lost Mouth. I would recommend it to keep it during those and the Scorpions, but just not at Lost Mouth. Another good one to use, this one is a daily. This one's called Fighter's Recovery. Fighter's Recovery is good for when you're dying, if you're out of Ferocious Reaction, if Ferocious Reaction just hasn't healed you, or if you already, lost as many hit points as you can take, and it hasn't, I guess the word for that hasn't cooled down yet. Fighter Recovery is good to use. When using Fighter's Recovery, however many hits you're, like, dealing back at its enemies, that's how many you're getting back for heals. I use this with Enforced Threat and, Frontline Surge to help me get back whatever I was missing, however much I lost. And there are so many close calls that Fighter's Recovery is the best. It can, wow, like, I love using it during dungeons. I love it. Another good one, of course, is Frontline Surge. You get to push back your enemies. I would definitely recommend this during dungeons, especially with mobs. Especially if someone's taking aggro from you, then you can push back those enemies and mark them at the same time. So it builds threat, and you get to basically save, like, whoever else is in your group from being jumped by a mob of, like, say, higher level mobs, like in Valindra. Yeah, Valindra. Something. Basically just mobs, period. Let's see. Into the Fray. They did debuff this. It used to be ranked up to 100%, but I thought about it and I was like, well, it's still a good power to use. It still gives you run speed. It'll give you temporary hit points. It never used to do that before, but now it does. And the damage cap is only at 20%. So if you upgrade it, it's still a good one to use, because say if you and your teammates need to escape from getting hit by AoEs, it's really good to use on. I don't use Threatening Rush much as I used to, but it does mark your targets, does build threat. Crushing Surge good to use, especially when you don't have your shield up and it's down, and you know you ran out of stamina. Good to use to heal back those points. It may not be a lot of points, but you know a good 10% is easy. It'll save your life. You know, it's better than freaking losing stamina and not being able to regenerate any kind of health at all. A really good one to tank with is Knight's Valor, especially against enemies that are overpowered and they can hit you for 100,000 or more health points. I'm sorry, damage, but it's good to use because at least they're not taking as much damage as the boss would give out. It's good for, of course, like the damage resistant cap is at 40% with me. It's good to use in dungeons. It's good to use when you're, like, say if you're helping somebody out and they're lower level, but they need to go against higher level bosses. This is good to protect them with. It's good to run with. I would definitely recommend this in any kind of, like, if you're a vanguard or a sword master, it's really good to run with. Helps you protect your team, even in PvP. It can save them from a lot, you know, like, it's a good piece of damage resistance, you know, it'll save them from a lot of attacks. Alright, the special class, Indomitable Strength, is really great. It's a knockback and it's a prone. So the damage I think was increased recently from the mod 10.0, but I would recommend this even in dungeons. Not really as much as Villain's Menace, because Villain's Menace, you're immune to control powers. If you're in a dungeon where there's just a lot of AoEs and not a lot of control powers, this comes in handy, because then you're doing damage to the boss and you're not taking as much as, you know, like you normally would. But if it's a boss that you can easily knock back, that's good. Of course, if the boss is immune to it, you're still doing as much damage as you normally would. Commander Strike is also good. You mark a target, and whatever allies are there, their encounters and their at wills will do bonus damage to whatever foe has been marked with Commander Strike. And you'll know because when you mark it, it'll flash Commander Strike on their screen. Really good to tank with, especially when you're fighting the final boss, like Lost Mouth, Orcus, Valindra. Good stuff. Great to tank with. I wouldn't recommend it during the Scorpion attack though, because if you're in a certain area, most likely the allies' control powers will go to wherever the Commander Strike has been set to, especially if it flashed on their screen. So I would recommend this during final bosses. And let's see. Yeah, I think that's the majority of all I can explain. What I'll do is I'll do a video on me tanking Lost Mouth or something, so you guys can get like a little bit of a hint of what I was trying to explain here, like something really good to know, because I want, you know, other people to find this video. I want them to know, oh, so this is the person who has mod 10.0's update. So this is my opinion on the mod. This is, you know, how I set my character up. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that it was informative enough for anybody who has my kind of Paragon path, the Arm Vanguard path. If you have any questions, just, I guess, let me know. But thank you. I hope you guys enjoy this video though. I do enjoy making it for you guys. Alright, bye!